Lift your head, feel the pride, we've come so far. A voice is strong, shining bright like a guiding star. Built with love, bound by truth, it's who we are. New journal and guide, we've raised the bar.
Welcome to NJGPOD, the official podcast of New Journaling Guide. In this enlightening episode of NJGPOD, we sit down with Jennifer Douglas, a certified bridge instructor, tournament director, and visionary behind the innovative Family Bridge program. Jennifer is on a mission to bring the game of bridge to classrooms and communities, using it as a powerful tool for academic, cognitive, and emotional development. Based on Virginia Beach, she teaches students and adults the strategic game of bridge while also advocating for its mental health benefits, cross-generational connection, and ability to sharpen critical thinking. Jennifer shares how her passion for bridge intersects with education and empowerment, and how she's using the game to build stronger families and sharper minds. Tune in for insights, inspiration, and maybe even a few surprising facts about how bridge can change lives. Stay tuned for NJG Pod.
Together hand in hand we'll climb so high. Our legacy will sing and never lie. In the ink, in the print, our truth is found.
Hello and welcome to the NJGPOD podcast. I am Brenda Andrews, your host for today, and just excited to have here in the studio one of my favorite people, one of the favorite people of many people who enjoy playing the game of bridge. Now, I don't know what you know about bridge, but the woman we have with us today, Ms. Jennifer Douglas, has been doing a column in the Journaling Guide for quite a few years. And so she always has a word about bridge. I like to call her the bridge lady, and we've got the bridge lady here today. Hello, Miss Jennifer.
Hello. It is good to be here.
It's always good to have you. You're passionate about many different things that I have observed over the years I've known you. I don't know if I've observed you any more passionate about anything, though, beyond how much you put yourself into bridge and getting people to understand why they should learn bridge, what the benefits are, and not just for older adults, because sometimes we tend to think of retired people who don't have anything else to do with their time as playing bridge, but you've taken it to a different level, haven't you?
I certainly have. The research shows that bridge is absolutely awesome in terms of developing, focusing, and working with the brain. It is a non-intrusive tool that we can use to discipline ourselves and take advantage or take more of an advantage of our brain power, such that the American Association, the Alzheimer's Association of America, has partnered with Bridge and Bridge instructors and uses bridge as part of its Learn to Love the Brain series.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely.
That sounds serious.
Absolutely. The reason how I got started in bridge, just quickly to tell you, is that it started out, I was looking for a hobby. I had reached a point in life where I had spent many years working with United Airlines, and I retired, went back to school, Norfolk State University.
Behold.
The green and the gold. And took up a master's in education and started working in the school system. And I just felt that I needed something more to connect on a stronger level with the students. And I didn't have it. Now, there were absolutely, and there are magnificent teachers in the school system. It just occurred to me that I didn't have the magic touch. I decided to take a bit of time off and discover a hobby. And it boiled down to bridge and chess. And I thought, the reason I'm choosing to get into bridge is because with chess, it's a game between you and me, and that's it. And it is all cerebral. And there are no other parts to that. It's you and me. With bridge, because bridge is actually based on life and its challenges, bridge simply says it doesn't matter how absolutely wonderful I am, a magnificent bridge player, if I have not invested in my partner's abilities, we never win. It means that, as in life, we travel through, and believe it or not, no matter how accomplished we become, we haven't done it just by ourselves. There has always been someone there adding to, and that's what bridge is about.
That is really very interesting the way you described that. I'd never really thought about it, but I do play a little cards. I like to play spades and bid whist. I have never played bridge, but I have attended some of your sessions and noticed how excited everybody seems to be. But I really never thought of it in the way you described it. It really is a team that wins. And so you're as much invested when I play spades or bid whist. I notice and I don't play it enough to win or to learn how to make it happen for me. But I have noticed when I observe my partner and the other members of the card table who are playing, I tend to win more.
Yes. As you would in life. Yes.
Yes, as you would in life.
Absolutely.
Because you really don't do anything by yourself.
No, not really. No. Or very little, I'll say. And I realized simply from my training in education that part of the problem we're having today is that you can take a 10 or 11-year-old, close him in a room, no windows, put a slot under the door to slide his food in, and as long as he has his computer and his video games, he is quite happy. We're losing the outside playing. We're losing the communication that goes on at a very young age. We're losing it because they are very synced and into the computer and their games. And unfortunately, there's so many of the games that are so violent. And when you've lost connection with another human being, it's just a lot easier to pick up an AR-15 and shoot 25 people because in their games, they get points for that. And I wanted to be involved in something that required me to reach outside of me. That there, we talk about room at the top. There is more than ample room for more than just winner.
Totally away from a social reality with other people, with other young people. What does bridge have to do with that?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. I really don't have to wonder. I don't have to guess. There has been a scientific study done. And this is the driving force for why I am so adamant about engaging young people as well in bridge. There was a study done, and the results of the study, oh my goodness, shows where it's under scientifically speaking. That's the title of the study, where this researcher ran a test. And what he discovered was that those children who were taught and play bridge in school, their test scores, SOL scores, were higher than those students who did not learn or play bridge in school. And the test scores weren't just higher across the board, they were outstanding. There was an outstanding difference in two subjects that we really would like to see our students engaged in, and that's science and math. Now, we're very much into the STEM academies because we really want our kids, because they are our future, they're going to be our future problem solvers. And so we want as many scientists and mathematicians as we can possibly get our hands on. If we're starting early injecting bridge into the curriculum, we stand a greater chance of having far more successful science, math, engineering, and technology students. And that's been documented. When I started Bridge, it was for a personal endeavor. Then
You were looking for a hobby initially.
I was looking for a hobby.
Okay, you were maybe a little bored and you wanted
I
to
was
do
looking for
something
a
that would.
hobby.
Okay, go on.
And it took me, I'm only going to own up to taking beginner's bridge 6 times. I'm only going to own up to 6 times. You ask me anything past 6, you just might not get the truth. It was difficult. It was difficult because I had trouble simply focusing the brain.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not realize that in bridge, I'm answering my partner's questions. The little bit of card playing that I had experienced, you bid your hand.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's all I
true.
knew. You bid your hand. That's not what bridge is about at all. It's coded. In fact, bridge got started even today.
Yeah, how did bridge get started?
Well, the emperor in China
Okay.
decided that if his subjects did not know the rules of life, he would have to spend all of his time managing them.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a law. Every adult student had to carry the rules and laws of life on them at all times, which meant all throughout the day, throughout the night, each one of his subjects knew what they had to do and what was not acceptable. Well, those laws had to be written on stones. They got heavy
So we're
after a
going
while.
way back.
Way back. I forget the 1100 BC,
Okay.
something like that. But which is why we have paper being developed from China.
Mhm.
It was so that they had a lighter material to carry these rules of life on them. And I may add, to this day, although China has the world's largest population per country, per capita, they have the smallest amount of incarcerated folks. It's because they know every day, all day, because they have to carry on them the rules of life. And so bridge then, because they develop paper, they develop cards. And so this is where we get it from now. The spades and the other games are derivatives. Okay? Because in all games other than bridge, you're bidding your hand. That's not at all what you're doing in bridge. You're learning to focus on what your partner has asked you. And before you play bridge, there is a contract that you and your partner develop. It's called a convention card. You take that convention card with you wherever you go to play bridge. It is always on the table so that your opponents know exactly what it is you're playing. There are no secrets in bridge. People say, I had a poker face. you don't have a poker face in bridge. What you say, you must have. That's part of the rules. No secrets. You win because you have worked with your partner. You and your partner are so in sync that when the cards go down, your partner knows exactly what you have. He knows how many points you have. He knows how many hearts you have. So that when you play, you're playing with a partner, you become one.
This is just unbelievable to me, and it's very interesting, very interesting. And I'm sure it's interesting to persons who may be listening because it sounds to me like work.
Anytime there is a process by which an individual can manage his brain's capability, it is work, but it is non-intrusive. You don't need a doctor to drill into the skull to make corrective changes. Yes, it is indeed work. As my dad used to say, anything worthwhile does require a measure of work. And so you ask yourself, as I did, I was so frustrated trying to learn all of this because the whole bridge system only has 14 words. There are only 14 words in the entire language. You must learn from the position that used the bid what it means. That's work.
Well, look, someone with no knowledge, no understanding, just sitting down and saying, "I want to learn how to play bridge." And this is the part of the introduction to what they have to do. How long would it take that person to really begin to say, I think I want to stay?
Oh, that is so funny. Let me put it this way. I taught 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. It is so much easier for them to grasp the concepts simply because at that age, they don't know a more advanced code. So the problem, as it was with me for adults, is first removing what I've already learned. Because remember, we've become successful individuals. We're now adults. We know what we're doing. You're being asked to let all of that go. You're being asked to learn a new language. You're learning to decode. You're becoming a scientist.
Let's take a break. My brain is tired. We're going to take a quick break here, and we'll come back and learn a little bit more about bridge. I mean, it's really this is phenomenal. Is the word.
It is. All right.
In the ink, in the print, our truth is found.
For over a century, the New Journal and Guide has been the heartbeat of Hampton Roads, delivering news that shapes our community and resonates beyond. As the South's oldest Black-owned newspaper, we chronicle stories that matter, from local triumphs to national milestones, celebrating the rich tapestry of the African-American experience, history, present, and future in one subscription. Stay informed and empowered. Subscribe today at thenewjournalandguide.com.
Hello again. I'm Brenda Andrews here in the studio today with Jennifer Douglas, who's giving us a lesson on bridge. And not that I knew anything about bridge before she and I started talking, but I know a little bit more about bridge. And she's going to continue her instruction to us. But what I've learned so far is that bridge is like nothing I've ever heard of. And I'm sure I'm not alone in that. But Jennifer, you were saying that young people, in your experience teaching younger people, children, even more so than young adults, but that younger people tend to learn more quickly, if that's a possibility, but at least they tend to capture, perhaps I should say, capture the essence of the game. And part of that has to do with the fact that they're willing to start from where they are and move forward. Can you speak a little bit more about that?
Sure. What I discovered is that young people are very driven to win. Now, they're not so concerned about the game, what game they're winning in. They have a very strong desire to win. Well, in bridge, what I convey to them very early on, because, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th graders also like to have their cliques, and they have their own little games they like to do. One of the all-time favorites is to have food fights. So what I do is I'm letting them know that this is something that they can win. And they're always curious as to how can they win. And I say, well, you see, the only way you're going to win is that you're going to have a very good relationship with your partner. Well, right away, two folks who don't speak, two young students who don't talk and don't like each other, I immediately make them partners. Now, once you understand that you're going to win when you and your partner can agree and you're supportive of you and your partner, half the battle is over. See, because now the focus for them is, I've got to be cordial with you. You should hear them come in now and they go, good morning. And this is someone who just last week, they really wanted to pull the hair or punch. And that's a beautiful thing. Because when we can teach young people early on the concept of, I can look out for you too, right? We can do this together. It is good. It is a very good thing. So now they want to know, what do I need to do to win? So when I say something like, you need to learn the code, you need to know what it is I am asking you when I say one diamond. Okay. Most adults who have some card experience, very minimal, if they are holding 4 spades, 2 hearts, 6 diamonds, and 1 club, 4, 5, 6, 12, 13, yes. 4 spades, 2 hearts, 6 diamonds, and 1 club. If I open 1 diamond, most adults will say, oh, great, 2 diamonds. I said nothing about diamonds. I didn't ask about diamonds. And until and unless you're willing to learn the codes, you don't know what your partner is asking you. If you don't know what you're being asked, you're going to have difficulty giving the correct answer.
Okay. Well, I could truly see that younger people might have a little more patience in this whole process. As an older adult, I could see I might have a little more need to learn a little bit more before I call myself a bridge player.
Yes. Part of the reason, though, is that young people don't have another thing to go to when they don't know.
Okay.
They anchor on what it is I'm saying. When I say a club, I'm not asking you for clubs. I'm not talking about clubs. They are then willing to learn the code for what it is I'm asking, because that's how you win. Adults, if they've had any experience playing cards, or if they're using their logic, okay, because remember, it's that same logic that has gotten them this far in life. And to ask adults to let go of what has worked for them is very difficult.
Absolutely. I can truly understand that. Yeah.
And I'll say this quickly. From the study, the research that was done, the researchers was asked, so what is it about this bridge stuff that's so effective? And the researcher said it's because bridge teaches inferential reasoning. Now, that's a mighty highfalutin scientific
Yeah, it
word.
sure is.
And all it means is that it teaches one to think. In our classrooms, as a teacher, if today I say, okay, I'm going to list for you 5 great rivers, the 5 largest rivers in the country, and I'm going to give you a test tomorrow. And tomorrow comes, and I ask, what are the 5 largest rivers in the country? Was that thinking, or was that simply learning what I told you yesterday? Bridge has an unlimited combination of hands, which means the brain must always be on tap to decipher and determine what is needed to make that hand. Different. Every time you sit down, I don't care how long of a day you play, you're not going to get the same hand. The brain is on call. You must learn to be focused because you're counting points. And the hardest thing beginning when you first start out is learning to count the cards. Remembering if there's a card, a heart out, there are only 2 hearts out. You have a heart and your opponent has a heart. You must be able to determine whether the heart that the opponent has is higher than yours. It forces the brain to use more matter, brain matter, which creates more of those synapses that they're talking about for the brain. And it improves memory for real.
I can see that. You know, as you were talking, I was thinking about people who go to the gym and work out and use their muscles to lift weight or whatever they may choose. This is the brain's
Exercise.
workout.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, look, do you have the same partner or do you have different partners when your group, for example, do the same partners play together or do you have different partners?
It is best to have different partners. And the students that I have, I explain to them, it is good to have 3 types of partners. It is good to have a partner that is far more advanced than you because you will always be learning from him. Then it's good to have a partner who's taking the class with you because you will understand each other. So that's a partner where you are. And then it's good to have a partner who is less experienced than you are because then you will teach him. You need to, because that's what feeds the brain when it's constantly learning from, exchanging, and teaching.
Wow. This, you've got it down pat. That's all I have to say. And it makes a lot of good sense. It really does. And you know, thinking about older people, and you mentioned early on that it has been shown to be a deterrent to Alzheimer's and dementia things because those are brain issues for the most part.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've started a sub club in our Bridge Club. It's called our Celebrity Club, and it is our 90-plus-year-old members who are still actively playing bridge. And it is so good to see that. It is encouraging to know that as I mature, and I didn't say age, as I mature,
I like that.
there are things that I can see myself still being successful at. And that's important. I think in life, for me especially, I need those little markers that still indicate to me I'm still in the saddle.
You know, and this is off a tad, but I think that is so important for adults who are at retirement age to keep in mind. I've seen numerous people who look forward to retirement, and that's a great thing. You know, to say you have accomplished and reached a certain point where you can, if you can, afford to retire. But one thing that happens a lot of times for people I've seen is that they fall off. They get sluggish. They may tend to watch more TV or gain weight or whatever until they reach a point where they say, "Wait a minute, this may not be what I'm looking for."
Right.
But it sounds to me like keeping that brain, and that's what working does anyway, as an active employer or employee, somebody who's out there in the labor force, working keeps and reminds you to keep that brain moving. When you're retired, a lot of times you're so happy not to have to do it, and that's a good thing too,
Yes,
that you forget. You still have to exercise that brain.
absolutely. Absolutely. The other thing is when we take a look at bridge and we look at the age range, we realize the full benefit for seniors and those who are retired, and how it helps even still the working group. And we can see it helps children as well. In my mind, what is equally, if not more powerful, is then combining a generational kind of activity.
Mm.
And that's what I was able to do.
Tell me more. I'm interested.
And that's what we called, and I have to change the name because of rights on the name. I had it Feud, Family Bridge. I'm going to have to change it, and it'll probably be Family Debate, Family Bridge, where I take at-risk families. The nice group would be a mother and father and two of their children. What I had prior to the pandemic, and I only had one graduation class, and then the pandemic set in. But we had 3 families, at-risk families. They were 3 mothers and 3 of their children. That made a bridge table because it takes 4. So it was the mother and 3 of her children. And these were families that had multiple issues that they were working with. Part of the issue was that there was not solid communication within the family unit. Well, what we did was we took these 3 families, and they really weren't that eager about coming to do bridge, but we explained to them that there was going to be no charge and that we provided dinner. Well, on a Sunday evening for a mother who knows she's got to get up and start the next week off having dinner, not to have to cook, turned out to be
Good deal.
a good deal. Well, we're teaching the family bridge. We give them 7 lessons, just the very basics. But it wasn't so much to play bridge. Bridge was simply, again, the tool to get this family to now communicate with each other, because they're going to play against the other family. And so you now have a situation where there's a project that everybody in that family is working on. We gave the weekly lesson to the children, but we gave the entire program, all 7 lessons, to the adult, which meant anytime there was a question they had when they were not in bridge, they had to ask the mother. We wanted to reestablish the sense of who was in charge here, 1, and communication with the group. Because you see, unless you're talking with each other within the family and working on the dynamics of what you have to do to win this bridge game, because on Sunday we go and play the Thompsons over there and they're pretty good. It was a healthy kind of competition, such that 3 weeks into the lesson, so this was 3 Sundays later, one mother who had her 2 daughters in counseling because they just couldn't get along, well, of course, I made them partners. Well, 3rd week in, they're now talking with each other because they're partners, and they realize the only way we win is we need to be in sync. Their counselor came to the session, and I thought, great, we're going to have one more. She said, no, I'm not coming to play. I want to see what it is you're doing that allows these two folks now to talk.
We're going to start wrapping this up here, but before we end the conversation, I'm just sitting here thinking of that, what was it called? Family Feud, Family Bridge. I know you said you have to change
it.
that. How that also could be used in let's say, in a setting with persons who are in jail, who are inmates, who are, I think the sheriff of Norfolk calls his guest, who are
Yes.
guests, how that might be a tool for some, not all, just like everything is not for all, but a tool for some to learn how to relate to other people in that kind of team spirit, how that could be developed to, in that regard, based on what you have shared for the family. That was just very intriguing to think of the family
Yes.
and the mother and the three children gaining unity
Absolutely.
within the family and understanding each other, and actually looking forward to doing that on a Sunday afternoon. Yeah.
Absolutely. What I feel is, when I think about why Bridge was created, how its origin, it was for learning self-management and cooperation with others. Because, again, the first thing you learn in Bridge is it's not about your hand. See, it's not about you. You're simply focused on what I am asking you. Your job is to respond to what I'm asking you, not what's in your hand. So I could see it working in a setting where you have people who have to be managed, teaching them how to manage themselves. And don't forget now, Bridge is a game of strategy, just as life is. There has to be some kind of plan in life, in real time, to get from A to B, if that's where it is you want to be. If you're at A and you want to get to B, there's got to be some strategy, some way you're going to get there. Once we train the brain how to come up with a way to get from where we are to where we want to be, it reduces frustration. That's part of being a scientist. He doesn't know. See, he doesn't know the answers. What he's doing is diligently, consistently repeating process, and he says, okay, that doesn't work. Then he tries something else until he gets what does work. That requires the ability to determine when it's best to make a demand, when it's best to relinquish control. It's life. It's life.
Okay, you've convinced me.
All
You
right.
have convinced me. But I'll tell you the truth. I think I'm going to wait a little bit on the bridge, because I've got so many things on my brain that are circling around. It might take me, you said initially it took you like 6 beginning lessons or whatever. It might take me about 20 that you'll own up to. That's right. I'll own up to maybe 10 to get started.
Yes.
But for those of you who are listening, who are interested in learning bridge, I know you have a group that you, number one, ever so often you have classes where you teach bridge.
Yes.
And secondarily, you have a bridge club that actually may be looking for members or whatever. Can you tell
Always.
us? Let's close it up for someone who's
Okay.
listening and wants to know more.
There are bridge lessons. I offer bridge lessons. Now, I'm not the only person who offers bridge lessons. There is the Bridge Club, the Bridge Club. They offer lessons as well. I offer lessons at Rokeby Recreation Center. That is in Chesapeake, Virginia. You would sign up for lessons through the city of Chesapeake. I don't handle that, the signing up, but I do instruct. I give the bridge instructions. We have a bridge club, and it's Tidewater Bridge Club. And that's where you actually play a sanctioned game. It is good to come and watch. It is best to start taking your lessons, because until you understand and learn the code, you're not going to understand what they're doing. So you want to get started, start out, contact Rokeby Rec Center right there in Chesapeake. Let's do some lessons.
Okay. I'm in faith saying there's at least one person who's listening to this. It may be me, but who really values and appreciates what bridge is and what it does. I mean, this has been an educational experience for me. I knew it was a brain thinker, but I didn't know how impactful learning bridge can be if you
Absolutely.
choose to invest the energy and the understanding how it works.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to thank you. Are you in any time soon thinking of starting a business on this?
Actually, I am. I'm very concerned. There's been an executive order to dismantle the Department of Education, and that's just so troubling for me. I feel that it's time to step up and make the bridge lessons a very concrete kind of thing where I can reach far more young people, especially families, especially, and anyone who would simply like to learn more about managing themselves. So there is a program. It's April 26th. This is just a shout out. I think it's to the Small Business Association. They're putting on a program where they can walk you through what you need to do to go from just simply meeting someplace to actually forming a business. I don't have the particulars. I do know it's at 3rd Street Baptist Church in Portsmouth through the Small Business Association. So yes, I am definitely interested now in making this something that is far more structured, far more widespread. So yes.
Okay, well, with your energy and your passion, I have no doubt, no doubt that this is the beginning of another venture for you. And thank you, thank you. Those of you who want to read Jennifer's column, it's in the New Journaling Guide every week.
Every week.
And she ever so often has a picture of the Bridge Club and information about how persons can become involved, how they can go and meet with the Bridge Club members and observe as she moves forward with her business, which we've already claimed in faith. We know it's going to happen.
Gonna happen.
Then there's a reality there that you may be one of her first students in her new business, or at the Chesapeake Recreation Department. The Rokeby Center is near. It's in the what area? That's Indian River, the
Yes.
Indian River area.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so, but if you go to the Chesapeake Recreation Department, just look them up on the telephone or whatever. They will have that information, and you can check to see when her next class begins. And you can actually take a class, and I just, I'm awed. My brain is has been overworked, and just hang in there, and I know you will.
Yes. Thank you.
And thank you for contributing to the New Journaling Guide and informing our readers and our listeners today about the game of bridge.
Oh, you're quite welcome. Thanks for having me.
You're so welcome.
I'll meet you at the bridge table.
Oh, I know that's right.
Bye-bye.
Every step, every breath, we give it all. In unity, we answer the call. Raise the banner high, let it touch the sky. With every story told.